Mm, 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 my God, this is so good, Marshall. What is this?
Aaron, that's bitches.
Yeah, that is. There's something. There's something else kind of sprinkled in there. What is that?
Dirty, nasty horror.
Ah, that's what it is.
That's right. Set your microwaves to shit cooker. We watched Microwave Massacre. We watch it so you don't have to. So you know what time it is.
Horror, so bad and scary. Splitting up is never okay. Plot, who needs it? Don't turn on the lights. Cars don't ever start, but that's alright. Running upstairs instead of out the door. Good acting, what do we need that for? Horrible horror, so bad and scary. Enjoy the show, but not really.
Hello, Moon Goons. Welcome to the next episode of Horrible Horror, the show where we watch the worst of the worst in horror movies. Movies so bad they're scary. I'm your host, Marshall Hampton. With me, my co-host, my best friend, Mr. Aaron Southworth. Aaron, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm full. I am stuffed to the gills. Everything I ate was so delicious. Yeah,
Got your phone, some bitches.
I got my full of it.
Full
of it.
We watched Microwave Massacre. This shitfest was, oh God, do I hate it. This was a listener suggested movie. I actually heard about this a long time ago, but then recently I got a message on Facebook. If I get this wrong, I'm sorry, but it was from Mikey Venture saying, this was now on Amazon Prime and we should do it. So I'm like, all right, we gotta get to it.
I've had, excuse me, I've had a lot of people talk about this one before. Like a lot of people on our Instagram page mentioning Microwave Massacre, and I think the first time I heard about it was I was in Kansas City. And I was at this shitty coffee shop, worst coffee I ever had in my life. But I was wearing my horrible horror shirt. This guy started talking to me. He goes, "You have to watch Microwave Massacre."
Maybe that's then where I heard it was from you, from that trip in Kansas City.
He was really pumped about it.
So we finally got around to doing it. It was released on August 31st of 1983, although I have a feeling this was made like in the 79 or something like that. It's really
Late 70s,
real
super early 80s.
really
yeah.
dated. It's written by Thomas Singer and Craig Muckler, written by Wayne Berwick. Luckily, this movie is pretty short. It's only got a 76-minute runtime.
Doesn't feel like it.
You're right, it does not. But god damn if it was any longer. Like I said, you can't find it on Amazon Prime right now for free, so that also helps a lot.
Very cool. Excuse me.
The cast ain't dick to talk about except for two people. Pretty much, first of all, nearly everybody in this entire movie has only, this is like their one and done movie. They were in this and nothing else.
Or they're dead.
Or they're dead. And then the girl who plays Chick, which at first, like, really, that's her name, Chick, but then that makes sense later. Anna Marlowe, she had 6 credits to her name. She was in Beyond Evil and The Dark, which I think are other horror movies, or at least thriller or some. And she was in one episode of the 1988 TV series Sledgehammer, which
Sweet,
I
David
remember.
Rashi. Yeah, St. Louis's own.
And she was also on The Dating Game, or The New Dating Game, where she was the date winner.
Ooh.
She wasn't that contestant. She was one of, like, I guess, 3 girls behind the wall, and she won the date.
So she got that steak dinner.
She got the steak dinner.
All right.
Now, the big claim to fame, if you want to call it that, in this movie is the lead, played by Jackie Vernon. Now, the younger listeners probably have no fucking idea who that is. He was a stand-up comedian who got his break doing weird shtick. He's very similar, like, I would say almost like Stephen Wright and Rodney Dangerfield in a way.
Right.
But besides this movie, his big claim to fame that everybody's going to know him for, and maybe not even know him, but they'll know his voice, is he was the official voice of Frosty the Snowman in the famous Christmas classic cartoons, Frosty the Snowman, Return of Frosty.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the Frosty guy. That's him doing the voice of Frosty.
That's very much what I got, was a poor man's Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I picked up from him.
And then, but he passed away like in the mid 80s or early mid 80s, something like
Yeah,
that.
he was like big in the 60s or something.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Like,
So anyway, that's it for the cast. Like, there's nothing other than that, nobody worth mentioning. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna go into the movie now. The movie itself opens great. Like, it opens on just this giant, large pair of wonderful tits
Yep.
of a woman in like this tight, super low cut red top and tight ass jeans as she struts herself down the sidewalk.
And dude, she is strutting. She's strutting like Vince McMahon
Yeah.
struts or Conor McGregor strut. She's waving those arms so wide, just like, fuck yeah, look at these titties.
Yeah. And we go to this construction site where we meet the three main guys in the movie. They're all construction workers. We meet Donald, Philip, the black guy, and the 70s porn star Roosevelt. Now-
He really does have that look, man.
He's straight up porn star. Now, the three of them are sitting around eating their lunch. It's really boring. Nothing's going on. The joke's going on about Don's wife and her bad cooking, and she's making him eat a crab sandwich, which consists of a entire uncooked crab between two slices of giant bread and lettuce.
It's comical
Yeah,
how big this is.
It's supposed to be yeah.
It's this giant like focaccia roll cut in half with a plastic
A rubbery plastic crab.
It's like uncracked. It's like let's imagine it is cooked and everything. He's got to fucking bash that thing to pieces.
Not
Like,
not cracked
it's
at all.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Again, it's just bad prop comedy. It's like fucking some Carrot Top would use or something, like crab sandwich. I don't know. So they talk for a while, and it goes on. And
Basically, it comes down to the wife is obsessed with cooking, and she's horrible at it.
yeah, or at least he thinks she's horrible at it. So we go back to the girl with big tits, and she's coming. She comes across the construction site, and she walks up to this hole in like the wooden fence that kind of blocks off the construction
It's
site
so
from
you
the
can
rest.
kind of look
It's a
inside.
barrier site, yeah.
yeah.
And there's like an like a cutout so you can look in. And she looks through, and as soon as she looks through this hole, this real shady, rapey looking guy who has like curly fro perm.
He's got a zip up hoodie on with no
No,
shirt.
it's not a hoodie. It's like an old army jacket, like the old Vietnam
Okay,
army
yeah,
jacket.
yeah.
Sunglasses, like a
A fro,
fro perm,
smoking a
and
cigarette.
smoking a cigarette. He just
Sunglasses,
walks
yeah.
up behind this girl, grabs her ass, and the camera switches to the other side of the wooden barricade, where all we see is the woman's giant tits getting smushed through the knothole. And as more and more of her tits get smushed through the opening, they begin to pop out of her shirt. And you can tell that she's like getting smashed up against it.
Like
so she's
mashed up against
she's getting
it.
like fucked up against this wall.
So
This chick is basically just getting raped up against on the other side of this wall.
like this is how it starts.
Yeah, this
This
is
is
the
how your
opening
movie starts.
with a
And,
rape scene in broad daylight.
yeah, there's traffic going by and everything. And but it's funny because they pan back to the girl on the other side of this, and she's just like smashing her, but there's no guy.
That's not. Yeah, that comes up. Yeah, later.
Yeah.
You're right. Because the camera it switches over. What was it? The Philip, the black guy, sees the titties popping through the hole. And he's like, oh boy! He runs off.
Excuse me, boys, I gotta go to the restroom.
Yeah,
I mean restroom.
Yeah. So he takes off for those, and then Roosevelt sees that. And he's like, oh shit! So he races,
They both go
running.
sprinting.
running. And the white guy actually beats out the black guy, which is crazy. But they running not to help the woman getting raped, but basically to grab a handful of them titties and possibly motorboat them. And Roosevelt beats Philip to the tits, but as he reaches out to grab them, the woman falls away from the opening.
Because that's when they flip it over to
That's
her.
where, yeah.
They show her on the other side, like kind of, and there's no guy.
There's no guy.
There's no guy, and she's like the one pushing herself up against.
Yeah.
So was she getting raped? This guy just grab her butt and go, "Thank you, ma'am,"
Thank you, ma'am,
and
walk
walk
away,
away.
and then she starts
while
dry
she's
humping a
like,
piece of wood.
Yeah, I'm just gonna smush my boobs in
Like,
this little
it does.
hole.
It makes zero sense.
It's really weird, but yeah, once she moves and runs off like Roosevelt, he's like. He's not reaching out with his hands.
He
He's
tries to-
reaching out with his face. And his
He,
tongue's
does,
out like,
he makes one swipe with a hand miss, and then he puts his face up there like, ah! And his face is like in sheer disappointment that he
I
missed
know.
out on basically
Ah!
being an accessory to rape.
Right. Yikes.
We go back to Donald's house where we meet his wife May. She's coming home from grocery shopping, and on their doorstep is this large empty cardboard box for their new microwave, and this box is massive. Now inside, she sets the bag of groceries down on the counter next to what at first I thought was a weird looking refrigerator, but no, it's the goddamn microwave. I shit you not. This thing is the size of a fridge.
It's huge.
There's no way that this microwave came in that box. It's like 4 times bigger than the box we see. And I saw him like, God damn, May and Don better be wearing like a radiation suit when they use this thing, because Jesus. we're gonna have some serious Madame Curie stuff going on in this house.
It's so big.
It's massive. It's like a walk-in microwave. So May talks to her dog about how this microwave will take her cooking to a whole new level. She's gonna get even better at it.
Dude, I love that dog.
Napoleon
That dog is so awesome. It's this tiny dog, real like long stringy fur, and it's just got its tongue. It's like its teeth are broken, so its tongue just hangs out the side. This dog just looks retarded. Its tongue is just hanging out. Just
There's one scene where like, the dog just kind of like out of nowhere just kind of falls over and it gets back up for no reason.
The dog's got Down syndrome.
Yeah, the dog. There's something wrong with that dog.
It's adorable. Though.
So back in the construction site is we see Roosevelt is giving Philip, the black guy, tips on how to be cool and how to have rhythm to feel the music. Again,
Race joke.
Yeah, race joke. Now again,
Black guy has no rhythm. Whoa.
and Don tries to trade his rubber plastic crab sandwich for the other guy's lunch.
What I wouldn't give for bologna and cheese.
Yeah, he's obsessed with bologna and cheese. And then we jump to like this hole in the wall bar. It's also like part strip club. And we meet Sam, who's like the grouchy, annoying bartender, who is grouchy for like no reason.
Well, I think the vibe I was getting said he's really sick of people telling him their problems. Like he's just sitting there at the bar, and all he does is hear people bitch and talk about their problems.
Yeah, but I mean that's a cliche bartender. But yeah, he's just grouchy. So the three main guys, they're walking the street, and it looks like they're in the red light district. I mean, they're passing porn shops and like adult bookstores, which used to be a thing, and then they enter the bar, and there's this lame joke about how Don hasn't had anything good to eat in what seems like forever. And as he turns to go into the bar, he finds his face in the crotch of like this waitress who's on a stepladder fixing the door chime. So wah wah.
I haven't had anything good to eat in months. Boing.
Face in vagina. Yeah.
Which she just kind of goes, "Hey boys,
come on in.
How you doing?"
So they sit at the bar, and Don starts complaining about his wife and her cooking. Sam again doesn't give a flying fuck. He's like, I don't care. And the other two just go sit to watch a dancing girl on the stage. It's boring. Nothing's fucking happening.
He does have a sweet hemorrhoid line.
Yeah, something like, was Sam have a hemorrhoid?
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but
because the guy's bitching about his problem the whole time, and Sam the bartender just goes, "I got hemorrhoids. They get really bad when it's humid like this." And then Don's like, "What the fuck?" And Sam's like, kind of nods. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll tell you my fucking problems, buddy." Not very cool, is it?
It's never fun. So back at the house, May singing while making dinner, and this house is hideous. It's the tackiest.
Love it.
Really gaudiest house.
I love it because it's It's the tackiest, weirdest, gaudiest thing, but it's so over the top.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It is. I mean, it is insanely like 70s early gaudiness,
like late 70s.
It's like the stage is vomited all over this house.
Yeah, and it's with no rhyme or reason.
There is none. There's no order to it whatsoever. Don pulls up, gets out of his piece of shit car. And he notices that his neighbors seem to be having some kind of like sex party next door.
Sex party!
I'm calling it that, but again, it looks like another rape's going down because we see a topless woman being manhandled by a shirtless guy in jeans and a cowboy hat. He's like grabbing her and throwing her around.
And throws her against the glass, puts him on the glass.
Yeah.
And then throws her back.
He yanks her by the arm out of the picture. And then we see a guy dressed in women's lingerie standing in the window looking out Don like Don's the weird guy.
Yeah. Now draw the curtains.
So inside, oh dear God, the movie gets really shitty here. The acting and writing are fucking horrendous. And the jokes and the zingers just fall flat to me. They're so bad.
Are they so bad they're good?
No.
I don't know, man. Go on.
I didn't. If you have your been, I'd say no. Like if you think differently, feel free to try. I hated it. Don has a daydream of killing his wife with a katana, and then for some reason he just falls over. It makes no sense. He just fucking falls over for no reason.
Well, no, there's a reason. It's just not poorly. It's poorly executed. So
what's the reason?
He comes home and he said, remember she says, "Don't sit on the furniture with your dingy clothes." And he goes, "Ugh." So he doesn't sit on the furniture. He still spites her by standing on the furniture.
Yeah.
So he's standing on the couch.
He's not standing on the couch.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. He's standing on the couch. I'm telling you. So he's standing on the couch. He has that fantasy. He makes a swing. And when he's standing on the couch and he loses his balance. It's poorly executed
All
because
right.
you can't really
I'll-
tell. But
If that's it, it's poorly. Because I swear, I thought you were just saying he just falls over for no reason whatsoever.
just
Like he just yeah. Anyway, so the scene drags on and on with more bad jokes, which have no impact because they just to me they continue to
The
fall flat.
delivery
and go-
was really bad.
Yeah, the delivery is awful.
Mhm.
And again, they just bicker and argue, and finally, mercifully, the scene ends.
Like it's she's very stereotypical Jewy, you know, just real like
Yeah,
I mean,
I
that's
can
kind of
see
the
it.
vibe I was getting anyway.
I didn't think about the Jew, but yeah, I could see that now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just Semitic.
So we go to the next day. We're back at the construction site. Don's eating a sandwich as this pretty, curvy blonde girl in a skimpy blue outfit enters the construction site.
I think it's
through
the same one. The same one. we
No,
saw in the
it's
beginning.
not.
It's
It's
not.
totally different girl.
Sure, looks a hell of a lot like her.
Not her.
You sure?
I'm sure.
You sure?
I'm sure.
You sure?
I'm sure.
All right.
I'm sure. And so she enters like this random hole in the wall, which I don't know. And again,
Just decides to walk through a construction
I
site.
don't understand like why so many women are interested in this construction site. Like there's like drawn as like a moth to a flame.
Hot women too.
Yeah. And this girl is wearing the shortest velour shorts I've ever seen.
Ooh,
And like a
velour.
sleeveless tight blue top with high heels, which just looks weird.
Yeah. And
Like,
her-
high heels. She looks like she'd be working out at a gym, not wearing high heels with this
I
outfit.
don't think she'd be working out at a gym. I think she'd be working out at a fucking cat house. Her butt cheeks are hanging out like the bottom.
I'm not saying she would, but it looks more like a gym outfit than something you'd be wearing high heels with.
I don't know what kind of gym you go to, but you got to take me to your gym, buddy. We're going. We're going after this podcast.
So this girl, like I said, but anyway, it doesn't matter because Horn Dog Roosevelt immediately like bum rushes this girl and starts hitting on her. And he's like, "Hey, do you want to feel my hard hat?" And then like places the hat up against her ass and like, "Is there anything else hard I can offer you?" And just this whole movie is a giant sexual harassment lawsuit. It really is. It's just
Yeah. Do not act like the characters in this movie if you don't want to wind up in jail.
yeah. Roosevelt continues to chat up and flirt with this girl. And now the movie has become basically an opening scene from a porno movie, complete with endless sexual innuendos and worse acting.
That's a good point. It's like watching a porn without the porn.
Yeah.
That's a really good way of looking at it. It's like the acting is very...
But the porn has better actors in it.
Well, maybe. But yeah, it's a very good way of putting it.
So Roosevelt and this girl sit down, and out of the blue, she goes, "Do you think I'm a nice person?" What the fuck? I mean, that's so goddamn random and odd. Like, what girl or person, for that matter, would ask someone they just met or known less than 2 minutes, "Hey, do you think I'm a nice person?"
They have mental health issues.
It's so random. It's like, what? I'm just lost. Like, this is the shittiest writing I think I've ever seen in a movie.
Bitch be tripping.
And of course, Roosevelt says, "Yeah, you're great," because he just wants,
Of course.
wants to get laid. And she's like, she was like, "Well, usually most men are just interested in one thing." Roosevelt then looks at her tits, directly at her tits, and counters saying, "Yeah, how do they choose? Like, how do they choose?" And then they start making out in the middle of the construction site. So apparently, sexual harassment is the key to getting women to make out with you in this movie, in this universe.
Ka-ching.
That's all it took. Let
Man.
me just harass you and sexually, basically assault you.
He doesn't have to work very hard either.
No, he does
Like,
not.
He just kind of chips away. And like as soon as he like makes out there a little bit, and he's like, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah, and while this is going on, you see Don sitting down. Like they cut back and forth. Don, while he was arguing with his wife earlier, that scene that Marshall can't stand, the wife says, "You just eat like the." He says, "The dog eats better than me." It's like, well, maybe that's what you should eat. So the next scene, he's putting dog food on bread and he's eating it, and then they pan over to the girl walking through the construction site.
Okay.
Because after they get done making out. Well, they keep cutting back and forth, and Don is just sitting there eating his fucking dog food sandwich.
Yeah.
And a random dog comes up, and he starts giving the dog some food.
Yeah.
And then they show that's when Roosevelt gets done making out with her, puts his arm around, and goes, "Hey, Don, looks like you're doing pretty good, too." Don's got his arm around the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't know. I kind of like that. I was like, that's funny.
Jesus. So
Don can't get women. He gets the dog.
we're skipping ahead to like the short scene of Don back at the bar. He's so drunk, he's just straight up passed out on the bar. Sam wakes him up. Don doesn't even realize where he is, but Sam's like, hey, go home.
Get out of here.
So Don gets up, drives home, and fucking Christ, that's another lawsuit right there. I mean,
Yeah.
and then I came to conclusion, I think Sam secretly wants all of his customers to die, so he doesn't have to listen to him anymore. There's no way Don should have been driving home if he's passed out at the bar. But by the grace of God, Don manages to make it home. He stumbles inside where he tells May that he wants a bologna and cheese sandwich for dinner. Now, I want to make a quick comment on this because the whole movie here is based on the premise that Don's wife is a shit cook and she can't cook worth a shit. And but we've seen throughout this movie so far, we've seen several times that she tries constantly to improve her cooking and cooks somewhat like fancy food. Like she's make
Chicken cordon bleu.
Chicken cordon bleu, Peruvian stuff like this, whatever, Persian this, Persian that. She made Peruvian beef and veggies, but he complains he'd rather have basically a shitty bologna sandwich, which to me, that's fucking disgusting. I hate bologna.
He's an everyman.
But it's like, how can you complain? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it would make more sense if like that's all he's getting is bologna and cheese every night, every day, that's all he gets. Then it would make sense. Okay, you're a shitty cook, but she's obviously not a shitty cook. But she's making Peruvian beef and cordon bleu and all this stuff. So it loses the premise of the movie.
But he's an everyman. He wants just. I get you. I hear you. And that's another thing. It's like, poor lady. She's trying. She's trying to do her hobby. She's into it. She buys a new microwave. You know, she's doing her thing. And but Don's a piece of shit. And all he really wants, he doesn't care about the fancy stuff. He just wants your bare basic burger, bologna and cheese.
But all he does is complain about how bad it tastes and which
Maybe
it doesn't.
does.
It should be. It's good. It's good food.
Well, maybe she makes it fucking horrible. Maybe she's shitty at following directions. I mean, that's the premise, I guess. Is that
I don't. It just. It's not clear.
Her cooking's so bad, he'd rather eat dog food, which he did.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they fuck up the whole thing. Anyway, they argue. They bicker more. He spits water onto her plate of food. And then he goes on this crazy spree where he starts dumping the contents of like a vacuum cleaner bag around the living room and starts tossing shit all over the place. And then the kicker, the ice on the cake, is when he pisses into the fireplace.
She goes, "Something's bothering you, Donnie." What's her name? May.
May.
You have a gift for the obvious.
So after more arguing and bickering, Don tries to throw her food out the front door, but she stops him and then dumps it over his head. Now, this is the last straw for Don. This is where he snaps and he begins to strangle May. And during this, the plate of food slides off his head and magically there's no food.
No food on his head.
There's no trace of food in his hair, on his clothing, anywhere. The food is gone from the plate to oblivion. It's just magically gone.
Another dimension.
Yeah.
Maybe that phantasm dimension. Who knows?
The Jawa dimension. It ends up in Tatooine.
Yeah.
So while Don strangles her, he decides, you know what, that's not enough. So he beats her to death with a large wooden salt grinder. And he does take a quick pause in his murdering of his wife to toss some salt over his shoulder for good luck. And then he goes back to beating her with death.
Fucking brilliant. I love that part. He's just bashing her with this big, like I said, this big wooden salt shaker. Just go to town on her, stops. Whoop, throws the salt over the shoulder and goes back to it.
Beating her to death.
I love it.
Another thing to notice in this scene is that there is zero blood, which is bullshit. I mean, this woman is violently getting beaten to death, and you're telling me there's absolutely no blood splatter from having her head smashed in with a blunt object.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So what I guess is supposed to be the next morning, but the editing makes it look like Don just finished killing his wife and he just walks out of his house. Like, it doesn't translate very well.
It was nighttime when you left, so,
It was nighttime when he gets home and kills his wife. The very next shot is
daytime.
Daytime.
Mhm.
So I was like,
I didn't feel that.
He steps outside, suffering from a hangover, to get the paper. And then next door, the porn movie continues as the energy meter man gets pulled inside by the crotch of his pants to bang the neighbor.
I'm here to check your juice.
Yeah.
And then You just see the neighbor hand reach out, grab him by the belt, by his crotch, basically, and yank him inside.
Yep.
Here to check your juice.
I love that. I do like a chicken juice. Don calls out for May to hurry up with his breakfast. He goes back inside and into the kitchen. And again, the writing shows its grade school level of excellence here. It's fucking awful. I'm going to play a little audio clip of how bad this scene is.
How awesome it is.
Oh, we differ greatly here. So judge for yourself. Here, take a listen.
Jeez. I'm going to this thing. Oh, I'm starving. Maybe there's something in the microwave. Oh. May's in the microwave. He's in the microwave?
So yeah, Don pretty much just has a stroke here in this scene. It's fucking ridiculously bad.
I don't think it was that. I'm thinking Oscar-worthy performance. He's in total shock, and you can't say the words.
It's so bad. And after that, he looks straight into the camera, like dead into the camera.
He does that a few times.
Yeah, he does.
He breaks the fourth wall quite a bit.
lot.
Yeah.
He says, "Well, I guess that's the way she'd wanted to go, but she hasn't gone yet. She's still in there." And then the shitty synthesizer music starts playing as Don turns to look at the buttons on the microwave. Now, on the keypad, he punches in the code for the slow boil setting, which then in turn lights up a button next to the slow boil setting indicator. Now, who the fuck designed this microwave is a moron, because first of all, it has a numerical keypad and light up buttons for each setting. And you have to punch in a code into the keypad for whatever setting you want, which would be easier if you just push the light up button for said setting instead of pushing in a nuclear launch code for each setting you want.
Exactly what it is, man. It is. You gotta enter in that code. Now, I was a kid in this, like, I was born in the late 70s. I wasn't, I don't really remember much from the super early 80s. So I do remember we had a microwave that was gigantic.
Yeah.
We had a huge one, but it was still simple to operate.
Yeah.
You know,
like I was going to say, first microwave I remember when I was a kid, it was pretty big. It was about the size of like a, 12-inch, 14-inch old TV box. I mean, it was the size of a TV at the time, but it didn't have like a fucking key code. I mean, the controls were basically just like any modern microwave. Just punch in the time, hit start. Punch in this, hit start. Not
this weird code. And I do remember my grandparents had one that had like a weird rotating dial. So like you turn the knob, you turn the dial, physically turn the dial to how many minutes you want, and you hit start or whatever.
But still, this thing is
like launch code.
Yeah, it's insane.
It looks like something out of War Games. You know, from the 80s. Yeah.
Or I hate to go back, but something you see on the Death Star. Just light up panels and buttons. And
that is your go-to light up panel and buttons is Death Star.
It never fails me. Can't go wrong, Death Star.
Can't go wrong with Death Star.
So again, Don turns to the camera as the microwave. This is like his third time in like the last 20 seconds. He's looked straight into the camera as the microwave turns on. And we cut to the construction site where the boys are getting lunch out of a box and out of a cardboard box in the back of a van. Now, I mean, seriously, it looks like someone robbed a fucking Jack in the Box. Because there's a large cardboard box and there's pulling jumbo jacks out of this box, like the 5-finger discount.
Yeah, well, I can see someone, like if someone's on the construction crew, just went on a food run, bought a shit ton of burgers, put in the box, said, "Okay, boys, lunch."
I kind of get it, but it just...
That's what it seemed like to me.
But you would think they'd come... I don't know. It just seemed weird. I figured they'd be in bags or something. But it's like, there's back of a van, like, hey, you got that stereo hookup I need? Like, yeah, come to the back of my van, man. It's like, just...
Nah, that's not what I got.
I thought it was really weird. So, we jump to Don in his basement, cutting up May's body with a saw.
But really back to the food part.
Okay.
They did say, a jumbo jack.
Yeah.
There was, like, product placement.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean...
Which is weird. Like, it's straight up jumbo. They say jumbo jack in the movie.
Yeah.
And the wrapper is an old jumbo jack wrapper.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's an old Jack. It's an old Jack in the Box, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Jack in the Box started in California, right? Or
I don't know where it started.
I don't know,
I don't even know where this movie takes place. I thought
it was New York. God damn, maybe
I don't
it
know.
could've been.
At one point I thought it was fucking Texas. It doesn't matter.
But he's got that fucking thick accent, you know? He's got that real thick. Like-
Roosevelt, yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking about Don.
Don
got
doesn't have an accent. He talks so.
Sure he does.
So,
He's got a-
Don's voice. I don't know.
He's got a fucking like Jersey accent or something. It's like a definitely East Coast kind of talk.
Well, that's probably just him, like Jackie Vernon. And the acting, I'm not giving anybody credit in this movie for acting well enough to actually have an accent.
Well, yeah, but it feels like East Coast. But it looks like
it doesn't
yeah.
fucking matter. You have no idea.
Yeah, I
where
guess it doesn't
It
matter,
doesn't
but-
matter.
I'm just trying to place that Jumbo Jack. Right? You know, especially in 1983, Jumbo Jack. Where were they? Anyway,
where were you, Jumbo?
should have
Jack?
done my homework.
Yeah, the Jumbo history of Jack in the Box. So yeah, Don's in the basement cutting up May's body with the wrapping it in foil, and again, no blood. Cutting up a body, zero blood anywhere. I don't know how that's possible. So now there's a lame joke made that Don catches May's comically bad fake head. This thing is atrocious. It's the worst fake head I think I've ever seen.
It's really bad.
He catches it as it's about to fall on the floor, and he says, "Oh, I just made up a heads-up play." You know, just that's the type of humor throughout this movie, if you want to call it humor. He then empties out his basement fridge of all of May's other food so he can make room for her chopped-up body.
Yeah, he opens the fridge and it's just packed.
Yes.
With aluminum foil wrapped
Yes, food wrapped in foil, yeah. And he does make a point. They do make the point to show Don wrapping one of the hands up in foil. He didn't take this giant ring off the hand yet. He just wraps it up and puts it in the fridge. Now, I actually wrote my notes, gee, I wonder if this is going to come back later. But honestly, it doesn't. Like, I don't know why they made such a big deal to show him wrapping, like, this hand with this ring on. Like, that ring's going to come back.
Something's going to happen.
Nothing, never comes back. Doesn't fucking matter. So he puts the hand in the fridge, but he doesn't see it fall out and into the trash can with the other foil wrapped food that he threw away. And then he's up watching TV. We cut to TV, and here the scene goes on for a while. So here's the gist of it. He's watching some interview of some criminologist who talks about how no one can ever pull off the perfect crime because it's too fucking hard. And the joke of the scene is that people on the TV are just constantly cursing and everything's bleeped out. So the news reporters are just cursing left and right.
Or they're trying to bleep it out, but they keep fucking up.
Yeah, they keep
because
fucking
they're bleeping up wrong parts. It's like, I can't believe these fucking, like.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they're bleeping the wrong words.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe this beep fucking jackasses or beep fucking shit,
Yeah.
So they're beeping the wrong parts.
I forgot about that.
Kind of funny.
So anyway, the criminologist mentioned the only perfect crime happened in England when someone stole thousands of dollars of caviar, and the guy got away with it because he ate all the evidence. And that's it. The scene ends. So that's all you get from that. Later that night, Don gets up for a midnight snack. He goes downstairs, grabs one of the foil-wrapped packages from the trash can, and starts to eat it in the dark. He comes back upstairs saying, "That's pretty good stuff." Eats some more of it. He unwraps the rest of the food to reveal he's been eating May's hand. And after a way too brief moment of shock of eating human flesh, he goes right back to eating her hand.
Because he's like, man, maybe I underestimated May's cooking. Oh, this is so good. I've never tasted something so unique.
Yeah.
Oh, God. He's talking about how delicious it is.
Yes.
Realizes he's eating flesh. Nah.
Doesn't fucking care.
Go back to it.
Doesn't care. And just a quick note, if you study this house throughout this movie, you'll notice that the basement door and the front door are the same door.
You're right.
So going down the basement is all the same door he goes out when he leaves the house to go
That's
to work.
right.
It's
That's
the same
right.
door. So next day, Don's back at work eating a 2-foot-long piece of May wrapped in foil.
It looks like a rack of ribs.
It does look like a rack of ribs.
It's what it is. It's like a rack of ribs,
Yeah.
but it's like short ribs, know? It's like obviously a pig.
Yeah.
It's obviously pork ribs, you know?
Clearly. Philip Roosevelt sit down next to him. They want to try a bite of Don's wonderful smelling lunch. Now, side note here, Aaron, I don't know if you noticed this. I hope you did, so I'm not the only one. But Roosevelt, in this scene, he's sitting there with his legs spread wide open, and his jeans have a giant fucking hole in the crotch. Like, seriously, if the actor wasn't wearing underwear, we'd all be looking like an eye full of cock and balls.
I did not notice that, Marshall.
And because it's like the zipper doesn't exist in his jeans. It's just a wide open hole in this guy's crotch, and he's like spread eagle. It's like showing it off.
Someone's ended Roosevelt.
No. Yeah, I thought it was sexy. Couldn't help it, man. There's that porn stash.
I know, that stash.
His porn stash and his sweet, flirting technique. His lady talk just got me.
Yeah, and you're like, let's see what he's packing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Look at that.
well, he's got a hole there.
So-
Easy access. He is.
He's ready to go.
He's ready to go.
He comes to work ready to go.
Right.
Because he doesn't know. You never know when you're going to bang some random blonde that walks through your
Some
construction
hot blonde
site.
walking through your construction site, right?
Yeah. So, of course, both Roosevelt and Philip love May meat and continue to chow down on it. Don tells him he's got a lot more of that and can bring more tomorrow. So, Don, again, is back at the bar. Sitting next to him is this blonde woman in a blue dress, and she starts sucking on and eating this cherry all slutty-like. Sam, the bartender...
Not sexy, slutty like.
Slutty, yeah.
That is a slutty way to eat a cherry, lady.
Yeah. Sam kicks the woman out of the bar for distracting the paying customers, and basically we learn that she's a hooker. Don follows her outside, they chat, and she asks him if he wants to take her home. But he doesn't seem to quite understand that she's a hooker. At least that's the impression I get.
He's not picking up what she's putting down.
Yeah.
Like Don's not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Eventually, he does take her back to his house, and back at his house, the hooker's just lounging around in her bra and panties, while Don's doing like housework.
He's cleaning up because he's so like. So this is the impression that you get is that he hasn't had sex in a long time.
Yeah.
He's May was shut down like Fort Knox. Nothing was getting in. They just were not having sex.
Exactly.
They even mentioned something like since 1962 or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's nervous. He's having trouble like getting it going. He keeps making an excuse like it's laundry day. I got to do this. I got to do that. And she's done having it, and she finally grabs Don and throws him on the couch.
No, it's the other way. She's like, I said, I'm leaving. I'm starving. I'm gonna go feed myself. She gets up and starts
that's
putting her
right.
dress on. That's when Don's like, fuck it. He gets up behind her, grabs her by the arm, and is like, all right. He throws her down, and they end up they fucks her on the couch, and for no reason whatsoever at this point, like it's fucking weird. He comes inside of her, and then he decides to basically smother her with a pillow.
Yeah.
And which at this point was like, what?
It makes
Like,
no
it
sense.
No sense. No more of this.
Like she's nice enough to take one for the team. Sure,
Yeah.
I'm sure Don's gonna pay, but Don's not a prize piece. And
No.
she's like, all right. She stuck around for a long time.
Yeah. He fucks her.
Don
comes in-
finishes like a champ. By the way,
Yeah.
How long was this? He's like, ah, ah, ah. Dude, he comes forever. He just, ah. This just goes on and on. And as soon as he's finished, he grabs his fluffy red flower pillow
like a sunflower pillow.
and shoves it on her face.
Kills
and
her.
smothers her.
And I'm pretty sure he's still inside of her when he kills her.
No, that's a fetish. That's
So Don now carries her body into the kitchen, places it on the island, grabs an axe off the counter, because, for some reason, Don keeps an axe on his kitchen counter.
in the kitchen, sure.
And he says, I'm so hungry, I could eat a whore. The scene cuts away right as Don's about to cut off her head.
I'm so hungry, I could eat a whore.
We skip ahead a few short scenes to a homeless man rifling through the curbside trash cans. He finds a severed arm in the trash, which, what? First of all, Don, if you're trying to get away with murder, don't throw away random body parts in your trash.
You're doing a pretty piss poor job.
I get wrapping them up, putting in your fridge. What happened to that idea? Not just throwing them in the curb. But anyway, so not even startled in the slightest bit by finding a severed arm, the homeless man picks it up, uses it to scratch his nuts, and then his back as he walks off with it. Now, this movie makes zero effort to make the arm look real at all. I mean, for fuck's sake, you can see the seams in the rubber from where it was molded.
It's so bad. Dude, their special effect budget is gone. Their special effects budget is zero because they paid for tits.
Yeah.
There's lots of tits in this movie. And
Yeah, there were way more tits than I thought there'd be in this movie.
A lot,
They
yeah.
blew the budget on titties and not special effects.
Not on special effects. That's where their priorities lie.
Titties!
Give me the boobs. We don't care about the gore.
So, again, we're skipping over some scenes of Don's failed trip to a hardware store, and we jump to a naked woman. This is just a weird shot. Did you want to say something about the hardware store?
No, it was stupid.
It was. No, we go to this naked woman lying on a giant slice of bread as a machete
Big
spreads
fucking machete.
a giant machete spreads mayo all over her body.
Just tons
Tons of mayo. Now this woman had nice tits. They were
Yeah,
big, nice,
she was
big
pretty
titties.
hot.
And she's alive, and she's like getting turned. She's like, oh yeah, that feels so nice.
Oh, it's so kinky.
so kinky. Yeah. So she gets covered with another giant slice
piece
of
of
bread,
bread.
and the machete then is used to like cut the naked woman's sandwich in half. But again, the camera cuts away before you see anything. I guess it's gonna have to cut away before they could use any special effects because nope,
Yeah.
we don't have it. Cut away.
No budget.
No budget for that.
We blew it all on the giant bread.
Giant bread.
5 guard jars of mayonnaise. Ugh.
Giant bread. So Don's not walking on the street, and he comes to a woman in a chicken suit dancing to like
Irish. No, it's like Irish music.
Irish flute
Yeah,
music.
it's like
It was being played by two like white guys in like Hanes BVD like church or something like that.
It was like that, you know.
And like,
she's just kind of hopping around
she's
in a
just
chicken suit.
popping around. Don's like, hey, and she asks Don, do you have any eggs for me or coins from my basket? I'm like, holy fuck, this is her idea of how to make money, to dance in a shitty chicken flute suit to flute music. And this is, the chicken suit looks like,
It looks
it's something in a cartoon, like you would see like Donald Duck's beak would get like rung through like a ringer. Or
I was
like
thinking like Big Bird, like on crack. You know, like Big Bird.
more like meth.
Big Bird got a drug problem.
I mean, the beak is
Yeah,
like just like
deflated.
2 feet long. It's flappy. It just dangles down to like a mud flap.
Big
like
Bird
the truck.
Big Bird's on hard fucking times.
So the Don and the chick literally chatted up for a bit, and he does convince her to come back to his place. And then we just cut to Don motorboating the chick's tits as she sits naked on the couch. And then a shot of Don placing a freshly severed foot on a table. So he's motorboating her titties, and then we assume she's dead, and he's cut her up. So now Don's talking to a shrink, and the shrink could care less. I mean, he's not even listening. He's pretty much asleep.
He's falling asleep.
And Don tells the shrink everything. He's like, I can't get sexually aroused or excited unless he thinks about eating the woman afterwards. He says that most guys have to worry about taking a girl out to a nice dinner before screwing her, but he has to have them for dinner after he screws them. And then, so Don unburns his soul.
Yeah, and he's talking about how he's like much more he's like happier than he's ever been.
Yeah.
He's much more vital. He feels better. He feels, younger and more vital. And he's going out with the guys. He's having more fun. He's happier than he's ever been. But he's burdened because he's got to bone chicks and then eat them.
Yeah.
Like
And
that's his thing.
so, yeah, that's his cross the bear. The shrink finally wakes up, and after a bit of misunderstood conversation, the shrink tells Don, oh, you're fine. Don't worry about what you're doing. Just keep going. Everything's fine. So,
This is a time of sexual liberation.
yeah. Like, I gotta eat them. Like, don't worry, it's just pussy. Or, eat them out. Like, that's basically
Yeah.
you have that conversation.
Yeah.
So now there's a quick shot of some naked woman getting sliced from tits to pelvis. Again, just some random woman.
Yeah, and that shot.
This poor woman has like the worst boob job. Like,
Dude,
you
she's
think
got
her
giant scars.
Her scars are huge.
Huge scars underneath her breast.
Yeah.
And you can tell she's got stretch marks
Yeah,
on her
stretch-
stomach.
yeah.
So she either had a kid or lost a ton of weight.
Yeah, this poor
Yeah,
girl.
I mean,
So, and then after that random weird scene, we see Don sitting in the kitchen reading a book called Survival, a True Story About Cannibalism. And as he's reading, the microwave dings behind him. The light comes on to show that it is filled with severed arms, legs, and feet that he's been cooking in the microwave. Now, suddenly Don, I thought it was fucking weird, because at this point it makes zero fucking sense. But Don just starts having these massive chest pains out of nowhere. Like, I thought he's having a heart attack.
it's probably
here.
the best acting of the movie.
But nothing happens. And this goes on way too long for the zero payoff you get from this scene. Like, it's just weird and random at this point. So he takes more foil wrapped body parts to his basement fridge, which is at this point filled to capacity with body parts. But for some reason, he still has May's head in the fridge.
Yeah.
No other heads from his other victims, just May's head. And seeing how much quote unquote food is in there, he says he either has to eat more or screw less. That's so May's head falls out of the fridge as Don packs more human meat into her. He goes to pick up the head, but it's gone. It's disappeared off the floor. He glances up and sees it sitting on his workbench. But then when he looks away and back again, now the head's disappeared again. And he finds it upstairs next to the front door / basement door.
Yeah.
Which also has someone knocking on it for now.
So the head has been disappearing, reappearing, disappearing, reappearing. That's basically been teleporting itself upstairs.
Yeah, it's a teleporting
What?
head. Yeah. Where'd this come from? Makes no sense. So Don holds the head behind his back like a kid trying to hide a cookie from his parents or something
perfect.
like that. He answers the door. In comes May's sister, Evelyn, wanting to know where May is. Evelyn refuses to leave until she sees May, so Don tells her to wait here while he goes gets her. Now rolls in like a thunderstorm. The lights begin to flicker. You think something's going to happen. Nope, nothing happens. They probably ran out of budget for that too. Don calls her to the back of the house where he tells Evelyn that May is sleeping. He opens the door to let Evelyn peek in, and it's the old like pillow underneath the blankets.
So
trick.
you can see May's severed head
decapitated head
on the pillow, but the blankets are pulled up to the head to make
Yeah.
it look like she's underneath the sheets,
Yes.
and that's her head.
that old gimmick. So Evelyn wants to go into the room to get a closer look. She struggles with Don, but finally is able to push past him. Don goes to the kitchen and comes back. You would think with maybe a knife, a rolling pin,
Maybe that axe.
that happened. No, he comes back with a large roll of bread.
Fucking hoagie.
Of fake hoagie. Evelyn screams as May's head rolls off, and Don then at first I thought kills her by basically attacks her and shoves this hoagie roll down her throat, causing her to choke and suffocate till she passes out.
To which John goes,
Soak that. He basically attacks her with a hoagie.
This guy's got some skills. He can render a woman unconscious with a hoagie
This is somebody you're trying to oh my god, this woman get me arrested. She's a witness. I need to dispatch her. Let me, instead of use that axe I've been chopping people up, let me get a hoagie roll.
So he renders her unconscious with a hoagie roll.
And he gets sick to his stomach at the idea of either fucking and or eating Evelyn. So he ties her up, puts her in the closet.
For the longest time, he goes, "What am I gonna do with her? Oh, if I'm gonna eat her, I have to." Oh. It goes on for like 30 seconds. I'm like, whoa!
It's bonkers. It's fucking ridiculous.
I kind of like it.
How do you like that?
I'm sorry, it's so stupid.
It is stupid. It's so stupid. So he ties her up, puts her in a closet with the bread still smushed, like sticking out of her mouth as a gag. Which in a way is a really shitty gag because you could just eat your gag.
Yeah, it's good.
Why she never just eats the gag? I don't know. So at this point, now we cut to Don entering a doctor's exam room where the doctor's throwing syringes like darts at like a target on the door. In this scene, the only thing that really learned is that Don has a pacemaker.
Mm-hmm. But he's healthier. Than he's like, wow, your blood. He's like, yeah, I can tell you're better than you have been 15 years ago. You seem stronger and better. And what's your secret?
Exactly. Now this pretty blonde nurse comes in and hands Doc a file, and I'm like, okay, there's victim. Never seen her. Nothing fucking like why is nurse even here?
It's for the gag. It's for the name gag. Here it is, Dr. Fool.
It's Dr. Wonderful.
Wonderful! Dr. Wonderful! So he's Dr. Wonderful.
I guess when you say Wonderful, I just thought it was like, okay, he's just Dr. Fool.
Dr. Wonderful.
All right. I thought it was Fool.
Well, you can also,
Yeah, all right. It doesn't fucking matter. Either way, the nurse doesn't matter.
Wonderful.
Now, here's another random-ass scene that makes no point. You never see again. I don't understand why it's even in the movie, but we cut to this short scene of a truck labeled Bawana Meats.
Yeah,
let us cater your next pagan ritual. Pulls up and out gets the driver, which is the most stereotypical racist guy. It's a black man dressed up like a caveman wearing animal furs and animal tutu, like he just came off the
savage,
Uganda, something like that. And he's carrying a cooking pot that has a hand sticking out of it. That's the whole scene.
He's not going into Don's house.
No.
He's not going anywhere in particular. It's not like Don supplying him the meat.
No.
It's just the scene.
Yeah. It would make sense if he was coming out of Don's house like he was buying. That would actually make sense.
Yeah.
He just pulls up on the side of the street, gets out of his pagan truck or whatever with a hand sticking out of a pot and walks off. There's no point. What is happening? Why? What is going on with Bwana Meats? Why? Why is an African tribesman driving the truck? What's going on?
So ridiculous.
So
Oh, I
after
forgot
that-
about that scene. Oh.
After that, we see Don getting her coat out of his closet and Evelyn's tied up in it. And we get a shot of the slutty neighbor watering her grass. And that's it. Just random shots of nothing going on.
Yeah, it's it's the slutty neighbor. It's the neighbor again.
She's
you know,
watering
so
her grass.
it's kind of like the running gag. It's like Don stops, looks at what she's doing. She had the sex party. She had the drug the guy to check her juice in,
Check
and
her
now
juice.
she's watering, quote unquote, watering the grass. Basically, she's just making a mud puddle.
Exactly what she is, just making a mud puddle.
She's just making a mud puddle in front of her house, and she's squatting down.
And then the camera
And
shows
the
look like she's
gag is to
pissing.
make it look like from behind she's pissing through her pants.
Yeah.
And she like looks back at Don all
And eats an
sexy.
apple.
Like, yeah.
It's so, and then we go back. Okay, so now we go back to Don and the boys at the construction site eating lunch. These guys eat more lunch than get any work done. All they're doing is eating. Roosevelt talks about how the newspapers reporting like several women have gone missing lately, and the cops have no leads. Blah blah blah. All three of them are eating Don's meat sandwiches or Don's meat sandwiches. Whoever victim there are now.
It's dark meat because they just talked about
yeah.
how the last woman who was taken was an African American.
Was black.
And
yeah.
they go, well, at least he doesn't discriminate.
Yeah, and he's like, Philip's like, oh, I see you're having dark meat today.
God.
Yeah. So now we go to Don picking up another hooker and takes her back to his place. At the house, she strips down to, shows her titties. Thunder hits again right as she drops her shirt to the floor. But again, nothing, even though it's bright and sunny outside.
They even make a point to
Yeah.
show that. So it's the middle of the day. Don picks her up on the way home from work. He puts her, she's getting undressed in the living room. Here's a thunderclap, and she's like, what the fuck? She goes and looks outside. It's bright, sunny, and there's a guy jogging down the street.
jogging
She's like,
down.
oh. There was no reason for that at all.
It's just a lame attempt at a joke. It's stupid. It's
So weird.
So bad. So Don enters the room wearing an apron and like sharpening like a knife and like a barbecue fork or something like that. Girl screams, and we just jump to Don in the basement cutting up the hooker's body. And dear fucking Lord, finally, there's a blood splatter from him cutting up a body. This is the one and only time you ever see blood in this movie.
And it's, again, trying to be a gag. It's like he's cutting and it's just squirting all in his face.
Yeah, like right in his eye.
Just
Yeah.
all over in his face.
You'd think by now you'd have it down a little more science.
Right, yeah.
So back outside, the slutty neighbor is working in her garden, and she's digging a hole and gardening with a vibrator. She uses a vibrator as a gardening instrument.
Yeah. So she's using the vibrator.
Jesus Christ.
to,
Like, this movie just gave up. It's like, fuck it.
What's weird? How about
Well,
gardening with a
yeah.
vibrator? That
How
sounds weird.
stupid can we get?
To which Don walks out, looks at her, and she's plowing the ground with the vibrator. Picks up and then like starts like jerking the vibrator off.
She like rubs it up against her body
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah.
And he just goes, "Boy, that's a weird woman."
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's the last you see of her. So later that day, after another shift at the construction site, the boys are trying to decide what to do that night, and Philip suggests that they all go to the wrestling matches at the Dome. And Roosevelt, he's in because he's heard that there are wild chicks at those wrestling matches. And so Don's like, all right, I'll bring the snacks. Back in his house, Don hangs up his shirt in the closet with Evelyn in it. She's still alive, tied up, but now the bread sticking out of her mouth is becoming like
Moldier and
mold-
moldier.
it gets
And her
moldier and moldier.
makeup's all runny and like
Yeah.
she's looking more like she's looking worse.
Yeah. In the kitchen, Don is cutting up the remains of an Asian woman now.
Because when they were talking about going to the wrestling show and eat snacks he was going to get, I was like, I'm going to try this new Peking chick.
Yeah,
I'm
I got
going to
some
go
like
down to Chinatown. I'm going to get some Peking chick. Don't you mean Peking duck? No. Peking chick. And they show, like,
This movie is so full of like stereotypical like racism. It's ridiculous.
They had these, what, I think it was like chopsticks and these
No, it
giant
had, like-
glasses.
Yeah, okay. This is exactly
like
what it was.
Charlie Chan.
Basically, it's a wig, like an Asian wig, like the like roll, like the bun
Yeah.
on top of a bun, like weird
Mhm.
stereotypes, cliche Asian Japanese woman like hair.
Mhm.
It had two chopsticks sticking out of the hair, and then next to the hair were like these giant circular glasses. This huge. It's just so racist. Now, my question that was so weird about the scene is like, why would the hair be sitting there? Because it's clearly not the head. Of
Right,
the woman. It's
right.
just hair.
It's like he
it's
scalped
clearly
her.
just a wig.
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess again they blew their fake head budget on the shitty May head. Like, we don't have budget for another fake head. Just put a wig there.
There you go.
It's like, what is? It makes no sense. It's just odd. So another thing I have to mention, like if I haven't mentioned this yet by now, but in this kitchen, it has 4 ovens. 4 ovens! And each one is labeled for a distinctly different purpose.
Like roast,
It's-
broil.
It's filet, flambe, pate, and souffle.
All A's.
Why in the hell would you have 4 ovens? I'm pretty sure one oven can do all that. But they're individually labeled. Jesus Christ.
So weird.
So Phil and Roosevelt show up, knock on the door. They enter Don's house dressed like they're going to a pimps and hoes party.
No shit. What kind of wrestling match is this?
I know. And
I mean, it was the 70s. I mean, it was definitely late 70s, early 80s.
Oh,
yeah.
that definitely is. Or 70s, I meant to say. They find Don's unconscious body on the kitchen floor, but instead of helping Don, they go straight to the microwave and turn on the light to find it filled with body parts. They don't give a shit about Don. They're like, oh, he don't look too good. All right, let's go check out the microwave. They just leave him there.
I think they just assumed he was dead. Because they go,
They don't even, but I think they don't even check.
Okay, yeah, because was it Phil goes, "Hey, you sleeping? Come on, man, that's not a place to sleep." And that's when Roosevelt goes, "I don't think he's asleep."
Yeah. It's like, that's what he says exactly. But still, they don't even check. They don't
No,
try to
they
get him
don't.
up. They don't try to, like, hey, check. They just
No
walk
pulse,
Up,
no.
Well, let's
Fuck
go. Let's go see what he's got in the microwave. I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
So Roosevelt opens the microwave, and inside we see a sticker that reads, "Caution: this microwave may affect pacemakers." We fade to black. We cut to a for sale sign outside Don's house. The sign, says 2-bedroom, 1-bath, blah, 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 den. Complete kitchen with microwave, but then they X out microwave, which, again, I think is just fucking weird, because why even put microwave on the sign in the first place? If you're going to scratch it off, why is it even there? Why is it even there? And is the microwave so new that having a house with a microwave is that much of a selling point?
Well, it's a pretty fucking fantastic microwave.
A walk-in microwave, I
It's
guess.
pretty gigantic. It's a pretty big feature in the kitchen.
Yeah, it is the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, it pretty much. All right. So the camera pans over to show movers taking furniture out of the house, while another mover opens the closet to find Evelyn still alive. The mold, bread is like black now.
It's about like dark green
It's
mold.
just black and it's sticking out of her mouth. And the mover's like, "Hey, Charlie, you gotta come over and see this."
He like kneels down. You think he's gonna like untie her and
Yeah.
like he goes, "Hey, you guys gotta check this out."
Yeah. So the camera then cuts down to the basement fridge. The door swings open, and there's May's head with all the food, the meat in it. The camera zooms in on her head, and May's
Before they, go ahead.
okay, and May's eyes light up. They light up, like come to life, freeze frame, and then roll credits. Like,
So, but before they show May's head, the guys are taking apart the microwave, and they go, "Look, someone switched around these wires. That would have really messed with someone's pacemaker." So then it pans down to May's head. It shows the light up eyes. The orange fills the screen out of her eyes. Roll credits.
yeah, that was, like,
So that was weird.
there's where the special effect budget was.
So what I got from it was maybe May was plotting to kill Don and intentionally switched the wires. So maybe if Don was around the microwave, it would have killed him. Because they even specifically mentioned someone messed up the wires. This would have really messed up someone with a pacemaker.
See, I get that, but at the same time, I didn't think that because there's already a label inside that says may affect pacemaker. So it's already, you wouldn't have to mess up the wires because it's already going to affect the pacemaker.
Yeah, they kind of ruin it by adding that sticker.
So
yeah.
that totally throws off, like, I get what you're saying, but it doesn't make any sense because that contradicts itself.
Right.
Now, if there was no sticker in there and just said, oh, somebody fucked up these wires and messed up.
Man, that really would have hurt someone with
Which
a pacemaker.
again would be incredibly random for some random mover. It's like, oh, look at this wire. This would mess up with some of the pacemaker. How I happen to know this, I don't know, but I do. Yeah, so fucking again, this is weird. Like, why are May's eyes, like, what's going on with May's head? It's teleporting around. The eyes are lighting up. Is she back from the
Is it
dead?
possessed?
Like, what's going on? You don't know. Now,
The credits.
The credit. Oh God, the credits.
I love the credits.
You like?
I love the credits.
Okay.
Did you like them?
I like the
All right,
credits.
good,
I did.
good.
I did like the credits, because they read different than any other movie. The credits read like this. It says Les Chefs Donald Jackie Vernon, and then it says Les Cooks Roosevelt and Philp, and then the actors' names, and then it goes down to like Le Menu in order of consumption.
Yeah.
It says La Spécialité La Maison. My French is awful, but it says May in the actress's name.
Yeah.
Les hors d'oeuvres, DDD, which is one of
Yeah.
the hookers, and then just like the poultry, the chick, Les Dessert, Susie Grubb, La Pain, Evelyn, like pain in the ass. What I took it as La Cocktail, the neighbor. She was the La Chaser is Sam, the bartender. Les Weirdo is the hardware store guy.
Yeah.
And then we didn't talk about this guy, but in the credits, again, just talk about offensive and people. Just time to time it says Les Fruit, Al Marie, which is the muscular gay construction worker we didn't really talk about, but he's in there. So he's
That was pretty funny. Le Fruit.
And even the vibrator is credited, sort of, because the credits read Les Vibrators. Sticky Digits Inc. Incorporated. Sticky Digits Incorporated. So I guess the company that they got it was credited as Le Vibrator.
There was one called like Second Banana, and it was the assistant crew, like the assistant cameraman, which I thought was kind of funny. And one guy's name was Dick Nibbler. I mean, it was hard to keep up with.
And then I thought this was funny, weird. Like, I don't know, like, they were confused, but like the dancer in the bar is credited as La Danseur. Allison, and then after Allison, it says Allison again in parentheses with a question mark.
Allison.
Like, Allison? We don't fucking know who she is. And then at the very end of the credits, it reads, the producers wish to express their thanks to microwave ovens, without which this movie would have taken much longer. Remember, dismember a friend for lunch. And that's that's the end of the credits. And then, so there you have, that's Microwave Massacre. Holy fuck is this movie? Anyway, let's go on to favorite kills.
There can be only one. Favorite kill?
Really, this is an awful one for kills, because you don't see anything, nothing really happens.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really shitty.
Last week we did, Camp Massacre, Spirit Camp.
Spirit Camp.
Sorry, I was thinking Massacre. We did Spirit Camp, and we were like, it's kind of a bummer with the kills. There weren't that great of kills.
They were so far and away better than what we had in this movie.
There's like none.
Yeah.
There's like one, maybe two.
Yeah. You have May, the hookers, maybe I don't know. Some I didn't even know if were kills or if there's Don's daydreams. I really didn't know if they were actually kills or daydreams.
Like, all right.
Because some were just shot with like a pure black background. You didn't see if they were like, is this a dream he's having? A daydream fantasy? I don't know what's going on. So I don't know. Let's figure out something here.
So I guess my favorite kill, it's hard. I'm gonna have to go with the giant sandwich with mayonnaise titties. I just said this is my favorite kill. Listen again. Giant pieces of bread with a machete spreading mayonnaise on giant titties. Yeah, that's my favorite kill.
Yeah,
that's probably definitely the most unique kill I think I've ever seen.
I know. One thing is, like, that's the one that made me think, like, is that actually a kill? Or I thought, is this a date? Because first of all, where the fuck does he get bread that big, like, and that much? I'm not arguing. Okay, you can go to Costco and get a shit ton of mayo, but where does the bread come from? Where does the bread that big come from?
There were giant pieces of white bread.
They were huge.
Oh, God.
They were like 3 feet by 3 feet.
Oh, they're bigger than that. Yeah, they're gigantic.
I mean, we're talking, like, for those of you who've seen and listened to our Lumberjack Man episode, they were like the size of Lumberjack's man's pancake. I mean, they're huge.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
That was my favorite one.
At first, I was thinking, okay, maybe the first hooker, because he fucks her and then kills her while he's still inside her. Like, oh, that's pretty dark. But no, like, if we're going to say the bread was an actual kill, then yeah, I'm going with the fucking titty mayo bread sandwich. Like, how can you not?
Yeah, exactly. I did like May getting killed because there's a comedic element at the very end, because he gets done, we talked about throwing the salt. He gets done bludgeoning her and her feet are still quivering, and he just goes, because it's big, dramatic, big swings, bash, 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 and her feet are just kind of quiggling a little bit, and he just goes, tap, and it goes clink, and then her feet finally stop, and she's wearing these fuzzy pink slippers.
Fuzzy pink slippers.
I
Yeah.
don't know, that was kind of funny, but I still got to go with
Yeah. The male
sandwich,
sandwich titties.
yeah.
Yeah. I agree. All right. Let's move on to odds and ends.
Not only did they watch these films, they researched them too. Ugh, what is wrong with these guys?
All right. IMDb gives it a 3.7 out of 10, which I think is insanely too high. Rotten Tomatoes, no thermometer score at all. 34% audience score. Again, way too high.
Oh yeah.
And the people on Amazon are smoking fucking crack because they gave it a 4.2 out of 5. I don't. Plot keywords. There are 59 plot keywords.
Are our panty boys in there? Panties?
No.
Whoa!
Our panty boys dropped the ball on this
Wow,
one.
there's panties in this, definitely.
Now I wrote these down before I watched the movie. They're gourmet, Coors beer, cannibalism, urination, vibrator, and hemorrhoids were some of the plot keywords.
They were also drinking Michelob, like old school Michelob.
Yeah,
in there too.
yeah. I remember trying to pick out what beers they're drinking.
Yeah.
I saw some old Budweiser in their cans too. So trivia, not a whole lot, very little, but at one point this movie was quoted as, despite utterly failing as comedy, horror, and pornography, Microwave Massacre is grotesque enough in design and attitude to be fascinating, much like a car accident. I kind of like that quote.
Yeah.
Microwave Massacre was released on a full-screen, unrated DVD by Anthem Pictures in 2006. And on the front cover, it was trumpeted as the worst horror movie of all time. In August 2016, so just recently, Arrow Video released a deluxe HD Blu-ray with audio commentary by writer-producer Craig Muckler. Now, I actually want to hear that commentary and listen to him try to explain away this piece of shit movie. And
I'm game too, man.
I'd love to hear that, but I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm going to spend like $50 on a Blu-ray for this movie because it's probably going to be hard to find and rare, and who knows. Turns out Craig Muckler was also the man in the women's lingerie in the window.
That tall ginger guy.
Yeah. This was Jack Vernon's last feature film. Like, he died like right after this was made, so this is what his last going out.
Oh,
This is
bummer.
his Raul Julia Street Fighter movie.
Yeah.
It was filmed. Get this shit. It was filmed in August, September 1981, but not released until 83. I still think that's too. It looks more like 78.
Well, I mean, hey, you're still getting.
I know
the,
it's that
the
transition
death
period.
of the '70s coming through. Yeah.
Filmed in 81, released in 83. Director Wayne Burke makes an uncredited cameo as one of the movers who he's the one who discovers the faulty wiring in the microwave, which causes the death of the character.
Okay.
So that's the director. Now, I mentioned this at the beginning. Rodney Dangerfield was actually considered for the lead role of Down, but his asking price was way too high.
Oh man.
Now, you put Rodney Dangerfield in this movie, I would probably. It'd be
5 stars.
It'd be 5 stars.
5 stars.
And I was never even a Rodney Dangerfield fan. Most of the time he gets on my fucking nerves. But in this movie, like,
It'd be perfect.
I would have so much.
Well, he would have nailed those lines so much
better.
because
The jokes would have hit.
Dude, they were like written for Rodney
like
Dangerfield.
That's his line. That's his style of comedy. Those zingers, those one-liners. But he would have delivered them so much better. That's all. That's all I
His
can think about this whole movie.
execution would have been fantastic, and that's exactly what I said at the beginning. It was like it's poor man's Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, Jack Vernon, all the best to him on there, but man, those jokes just fell flat to
Yeah,
me.
he just didn't deliver well.
No, not at all. But moving on, no budget game. I couldn't find anything for a budget on this movie. That
damn.
probably isn't too surprising.
I'm so curious
I am too, honestly. But let's
because
move.
it's like you got to balance between the special effects, which were shit, but so many boobs.
So many
You know,
boobs.
I mean, how much are you paying those girls for the boobs?
Not much,
And-
because they never did anything. They're probably just like, they're probably strippers when they got off the street. I mean, none of these people went on to do anything ever again.
Well, except that one girl.
Except for the one girl, who was on the dating
Strippers they
game.
picked up off the street.
Let's move on to 5-star reviews.
These special movies have a place in these special people's hearts. 5-star reviews.
All right, now there were actually several. Hamster Army writes,
Hamster Army, I like that.
now out of stock on Amazon, the great horror classic masquerading as bad soft porn from 1983 delivers on DVD with Frosty the Snowman, Jackie Vernon, as he finally tires of his nagging, poor cook wife and embraces the microwave oven age. Brilliantly acted, a dramatic, believable script, and amateur cinematography way ahead of its time. Microwave Massacre, when it's back in stock due to the high demand, will satisfy any film buff's craving. 5 stars. Alright, whatever. Rob O'Hara. This is the best treatment of an awful movie I will ever receive. I've seen this movie 100 times, starting with renting it on VHS as a kid and now watching it in Blu-ray. No matter how good the transfer is, it's still a movie about a cannibalistic, perverted construction worker, which makes it one of the worst and best movies of all time. 5 stars. Duhan. Great for getting drunk and watching with friends. This is one of the more wacky cult films out there and a lot of fun. 5 stars. From N. Becker. Don't get me wrong, it's absolutely one of the worst things put to film of all time, but it is amazing! Fascinating, hypnotic, mesmerizing, absolutely insane in the best way. 5 stars.
All right.
Last 2. From Phil Hartman's Ghost. If you are a fan of bad movies and this is for you, it is really bad. R.I.P. Jackie Vernon. Of course, this had to be the last thing you worked on. 5 stars.
Sorry, pal.
And from Jay Parsons, this is the worst horror film ever made, arguably. 5 stars. So
that's a weird ringing endorsement.
Yeah.
Worst horror movie ever made. 5 stars.
5 stars, though. We're going to 5-star this bad
Doesn't
boy.
really go into why.
No.
Why did you go 5 stars, buddy?
So that's it. This movie just. Anyway, let's go into final thoughts. Aaron, you guys start this off.
Okay, good.
And
because-
I have a feeling I'm going to want to slap you in the face after this, but just
slap
go
away, buddy.
Go
All
ahead.
right, because
Go ahead.
I'm gonna have to say it's so bad it's good.
Oh God!
And because
damn you.
this fits the definition of so bad it's scary, so bad it's good. But I mean, it's what we do. This movie, it was so bad, it's so ridiculous. And one of the reviewers said it earlier. It's a perfect. Said it perfectly. It's not softcore. It's not horror. It's not comedy. It's pathetic in each attempt. But just that blend, the way it blends together, for me, it's bad. It's really bad. It's so bad, but it's still fun to watch. It was still like, this is so horrible. What's happened? Giant titty bread? What? I mean, just ridiculous. It kept you. It's like. Whenever you started kind of losing steam, it's like a new girl would pop up with her shirt off. You're like, oh, all right. You're like, okay, here you go. Then some other crappy one-liner that just fell flat, and you go, oh. But it was so bad, you just kind of roll your eyes. You wouldn't be like, fuck this. I mean, it kind of worked. It's got a cult following. It's definitely got some legs still. So yeah, so bad it's good.
Wow. All right. I will commend you for sticking to your gut, going with your gut.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I so opposite for me. So bad it's scary, and many reasons why. One, like I said, to me, it's not really a horror movie. It's more of a dark comedy, and even that it fails on. So it just everything it tries to be, it just sucks at. Yeah, I had more fun talking about it than watching it because I thought it was paced really poor. Like May, nothing even happens. Like May doesn't get killed till like basically 20 almost about 28 minutes into the movie,
which is a short movie. So
it's
it's like
a short movie as it is,
like 1/3 of the movie.
Yeah, and then the kills are it's boring. There's so many weird, meaningless, empty scenes that don't need to be in there. I don't like it. The jokes, like I said, they fall flat. They don't work because of the delivery. Now I get there's a cult following, but I think that cult following is people our age or maybe older, because I don't think anybody 20 years or younger would even get any of these jokes. They wouldn't. I don't think they'd get that style of humor. Even if you pick up on what is supposed to be a joke and what's not supposed to be a joke. It did have a lot of tits, and it had some weird ass shit, like the bread. Like I'm never gonna forget the bread, naked girl, mayo, Sam, whatever that is. But it's not just because it's weird doesn't put it in the so bad it's good category for me. Like I would not want to watch this again because it's not that fun. Like I much rather watch like movies that are bad. Like I don't.
Here's a question.
Okay.
Would you rather watch Street Trash or Microwave Massacre again?
Oh, God.
Because honestly, I kind of felt there was a definite Street Trash vibe in this one. Like, it wasn't as, in your face crazy with the homelessness, but, I mean, it just had some bizarre weirdness to it that just didn't quite make sense. 80s shot, it kind of gave me that, I got a little bit of the street trash vibe.
I hate to say it, but I would probably watch Microwave Massacre again over Street Trash only because this one had of all the tits. That's it. Street Trash had like no tits, or if it did have tits, they were really gross tits from what I remember. But also another thing I want to comment on: the name. What the name is very misleading. First of all, the massacre. Where's the massacre?
No, you killed like 5 or 6
but
people.
the microwave doesn't kill anybody.
It kills Don.
That's not killing one person. Does not make a massacre. The microwave is not. I would love. Oh my god! If the microwave would come to life and kill people, I'm on. I would be on board. I'd watch that movie.
Okay.
But
I don't know how that one would work.
The microwave never kills anybody. Nobody's killed in the microwave. They're cooked after they're dead. So it's kind of a misleading title in the first place. It should be called Pervy Construction Worker Massacre.
Boo, boo, boo. I like Microwave Massacre. I think it works.
I do, no. I'm going so bad. It's scary this week. It just
crazy.
It falls flat. I get something that I can know. I'm saying so bad it's scary.
You're a crazy person. This movie was fun.
Oh, I don't know. All right, whatever. We will agree to disagree for this week.
All right.
We'll wrap it up. Remember, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and all the shit. I get tired. We're out there. If there's social media, you can find us there.
The only thing we're not on is Snapchat. I'm not going to be on Snapchat.
Yeah, fuck
Sorry.
Snapchat.
I don't.
No
No one
doing
needs
that.
to see me with a cute doggy filter.
No.
No.
We are on Grindr and Tinder though too, so if you want to find us there, check out our website horriblehorrorpodcast.com. You can download and listen to the episodes there, as well as iTunes and
I
Google
like how
Play.
you included Grinder. For all you fellas out there.
Hey, I don't want to discriminate, Don't want to discriminate. Also, keep in mind, be ready for we're coming up with our 2016, even though it's 2017, but we're doing it based on last year's movie. Our March horror movie madness tournament. So if you have your suggestions for any episodes we've done that you want to make sure in a tournament, let us know. Also, if you have any suggestions for movies you'd like us to watch and review and take on, again, send those our way. We love to hear from you. In the meantime, watch more horror movies and remember to always keep it tight.